social media posts from young folks, it's the main beef I see is housing. The bitterness, the anger, not being able to buy a house, that grandma bought a house for a bag of apples, now it's worth $3 million, And I wondered, is there any discussion over why this is? Like, particularly I think, obviously the central bank is a big topic, Federal Reserve is a big topic, high interest rates are a big topic. How do you see it?
Well, I think, first of all, young people are saddled primarily with college debt. When we come out of college, some of us have 80,000 plus, so they have that huge burden on top of them. The other problem here is that wages just have not kept up with the pace of inflation. And young people in particular, if they're not able to buy a home, they don't feel a sense of ownership, and that actually impacts how they vote. Because if they don't feel a sense of ownership, why not vote for a far left?
Right. So speaking of that then, so you've got Mondani. I may learn. I hope I don't have to learn that to pronounce it after the election. We'll see. He's there, and then at the same time, I'm saying this, huge push. This is from the large teachers union, and they're talking about the fact that they pledged to defend democracy by pushing back against fascism, but they tied in with Donald Trump. And it was really kind of weird at the bottom, right? These items cannot be accomplished without current staff and resources. So it's going to cost $3,500, right, to these teachers. They want these teachers to go in the classroom and tell students that MAGA, Trump, all of that stuff on the right is equivalent to fascism. Doesn't it just make things worse? And by the way, they're hurting our kids.
Right, and this is why we say this is indoctrination in public schools and not education. And the fact that you have taxpayer-funded resources being used to indoctrinate children to essentially hate not only the president, but one half of the country, only further creates the divide that you just mentioned.
So is it backfiring? Because there's some signs, that young folks are turning to the GOP, that there are more and more young Republicans. How do you account for that?
Yeah, I think that's actually a great testament that the education system doesn't have the same grip it did maybe 10 years ago. And I think that Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, they did something Democrats were scared to do. They went on podcasts. They sat down week after week to reach the younger generation. They engaged in meme culture, and they won the popularity contest of the presidential election that Republicans have shied away from for so long. So I think that's the shift.
I'm glad that shift is happening, but you know what? In the meantime, the establishment, the powers that be, still want us at each other's throat. I saw this. Jogging has always excluded black people. Now, maybe they were looking at my gut when they wrote this, but they weren't. They were saying it's a lily white sport out of Oregon, and somehow, like climate change, it's racist. How do you push back? This stuff, it just never stops, and it feels like the intent is to keep one group of people afraid, one group of people angry, one group of people disadvantaged. And this show is all about empowering all people.
Yes. Jogging is exclusionary the same way that exercise is right-wing, right? That right-wing conspiracy they told us about. And to your point, the reason that they spread this type of propaganda, they need people to feel aggrieved and to feel constantly discontent with life, because people who are aggrieved and discontent are always going to be angry, and they're always going to need someone to come and save them. So when the left says this, people flock to the left and say, but how do we fix this exclusionary policy? Right. And they get one from the left.
I was talking earlier today about Superman. John Carney wrote that the original Superman was all about a rebirth, getting rid of the fertility crisis, having kids, the baby boom. Mm-hmm. Could we get back there? I mean, we only have 15 seconds, but can our country get back to a place where people were forming families and having kids and embracing our culture?
Charles, if we don't have a country. Pat Buchanan said a country that cannot reproduce cannot sustain itself.